Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com and devnursery.com. So if you haven't been to Dev Nursery and signed up for the Discord and the Slack community, go do that. But this video is just going to be a quick run through creating some models in Ruby on Rails and some relationship stuff. Okay, so building relationships in your data in Rails, because this is just some of this stuff is stuff I haven't talked about in my other Rails videos. So I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this terminal here, create a new Rails project, just a standard API version. So Rails new we'll just call this, let's see here, we'll call it kids parents, new kids parents. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and I want to put the API flag. That way it just doesn't take as long. Good. See, there it made the whole thing. Makes it really quick because with the API flag, it doesn't interject all the stuff about about views and ERB files. You know, there's a bunch of stuff it doesn't add because you're not going to use it. You're just making an API. So now I'm going to go CD into that folder because right now I'm still in the Rails folder. So CD kids parents. Okay, and now we're going to create our first model, which are going to be parents. Let me think about how it is. Yeah, parents. Okay, so we're going to do a Rails model. I'm not changing any of the database settings, so I'm keeping the default database settings, so it's going to use SQLite 3. Rails generate model, so Rails generate model, and parent, and every parent's going to have a name, which is a string, and they're all going to have an age, which is a integer. And you can read the Ruby documents for all the other types of fields there are, but I hit that. And that creates all the stuff. Okay, and what does that do? It's going to create a model file. So if I go to app/model, see now I have a model for parent. Okay. And then if I go to database migrate, it creates a migration file that creates the table. So see t timestamps string good parents do. That's all fine and good. Okay, so with that, I'm going to create the databases. So I'm going to do Rails DB create. This is going to create all the databases specified in my default settings. Let's see, create two databases, two SQLite databases in my DB folder. So you notice here they are, development.sqlite3, test.sqlite3. Wonderful. Okay, now I am going to do the migration. Rails DB migrate. And okay, so see that created the thing. Okay, let me just get that out of the way. So that migrated. Now let's just try it out to make sure that it works. So I'm going to go into the Ruby console, or Rails console. So Rails console. It's going to bring me to the Rails console. And I should have access to my models, which should be parent. Let me just double check. So if I go back into app, oh no, wrong app, models, parent. Yep, so parent with a capital. So basically I'm going to create a new parent. So I'm going to say there's a new variable called p equals parent.new, and that new parent is going to have a name, of Hugh, and age of 55. Okay. I hit enter. Okay, it looks like it created it successfully. Now just to test that the person got created, I'm going to do puts p. Okay, and I see that a parent object was created. Okay, and see the ID is nil. Now what I'd like to do is save that to the database. So I'm going to do p.save, which will then save that object to the database. And there we go. So we see it gets created. Now that's the first parent we added to the database, so we should be able to do it like this. So parent dot find ID1, and see, it loads, and what did it find? It found Hugh, age 55. Okay, so we have a parent. Good. I'm not going to create too many parents, just that kind of gets the point across. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a child class or a child model. So we're going to do Rails G generate, Rails generate model, and every child is going to have a name, which is a string, and an integer, well, and an age, which is an integer. And they're going to have a relationship to a parent, which is a reference, so it's referring to another object. So we're going to type in references because it's a type that refers to a relationship. So I hit enter, and that threw me an error, so let's see what I did wrong. So Rails generate model. Oh, I forgot to put the model name. So boop, let's go back and enter the model name. So child. So Rails generate model child, name string, age integer, parent references. Okay, so that was created. So once again, if I go back to app and I look under models, now there's a child model, and see, it automatically interjects the relationship. So every child belongs to a parent. Okay. So that's sort of every child has one parent kind of relationship. Just to keep it simple. Then if I go to the migration, okay, here I see this. It says T references parent null false foreign key true. I can edit this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this. I can actually make this explicitly a belongs to relationship. So belongs to, okay, parent null false belongs foreign key true. Okay, and I don't think there's anything that needs to change. We leave that. Okay, I always get confused on this, but if my understanding is correct, is that null means not null. So if not null is false, it is nullable. We'll test this out in a moment. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to run that migration. So Rails db migrate to run that migration file and migrate to our database. The migration ran successfully. Okay, now we're going to go back to our Rails console and make some children. Rails console. So we're going to do child, because that should be capitalized. So let me just double check here. Yep, child dot new. The name of this baby is going to be Stewie. Okay, the age is going to be 3, and the parent, okay, should be parent dot find 1. So we're going to make Q, because I have to actually, since it's a relationship, I have to actually specify what object I'm relating it to. So I'm saying, okay, go to the parents, find the first parent, or the parent with an ID of 1, and make that the parent for this child. So we hit enter there, and that seemed to work. So see, parent ID 1. Now we want to save the child. So, oh, I created the child, but I don't think I ever saved it to a variable. Oops. So this child just floating around. Let's do that again. So let's say C equals child.new, so that we actually save it in a variable. There we go. Now this child is somewhere where we can access it instead of just floating off in the ether. So c.save, so we can save that to the database. Okay, and it successfully committed transaction. Good. So Stewie's in our database. So now if I do child.find 1, okay, I can see, and there's parent ID 1. And if I want to go see that kid's parent, I can go puts child.parent. Okay. Or let's try it this way. Child. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I have to do child dot find one. I gotta find the specific child, and then do dot parent. There you go. And there you see the parent is Hugh. Okay, so we can see the relationship with the parent. Now let's see if that whole nullable thing worked out. Let's try to create a child without a parent. So we're going to create a child dot new. Okay, whose name is Flowers, because I'm out of ideas at the moment. So child's name is Flowers. The age is 1, and there's no parents because they just don't exist. Okay, so I hit enter. So see there's no parent ID, and now let's see if it lets me save this child to the database, although I forgot to save it to a variable again. So let's do C equals child.new. There we go. Now let's do C.save. False. Okay, so basically if that is set to false, I'm assuming that that is not nullable. Okay, so basically you can't allow false. So just to test this out, let's create another model of the same idea. Let's create one called kid. So Rails generate model kid, or let's say teenager, name string, age integer, parent references. Okay, let's create that model. There we go. So now we have a teenager model that belongs to parent. And then let's go to the migration. And I'm going to change this to true so that it's hoping that means it can be null. Find out in a moment. And again, I'm going to change this to belongs to, because why not? Just be more explicit about the type of relationship it is. So every teenager belongs to a parent. Okay, and I mean there's a few different relationships. Has one, has whatever it is, it should match what's on. It should match what it says inside the model. Okay, so the model and the migration should match. Okay, cool. So let's run that migration. So Rails db _migrate. Okay, so that migration was successful. That's been added to our database. Okay, and if I really wanted to go check the database, I could go Rails DB console, which will take me to the SQLite console. Or if it was a Postgres database, it would take me to the SQL console. I'm not very familiar with the SQLite console, so I'm going to do .help to see what the commands are, because it's not exactly the same as Postgres. For those who've seen my Postgres videos, I just want to see how do we list all the tables. Dump table, I just want to see list, send, load, log, output, prompt, recover, scan, show the current values for various settings, show stats. DB info, show status information, archive off, binary, CD directory, DB config, under all the database content, SQL, echo. I'm going to assume it's going to be like something like show table. Show tables. Okay, let's see if it, let me try the Postgres command, see if it works here. ET. Nope. Okay. Oh, here we go. Tables. List the names of tables matching like. So let's try tables. Tables. Show. So let's try this. Tables like this. So that way it should show me all the tables. Okay. I will just assume that I know what the tables are called. because there should be a table. There should be a table called should be called parents. Select all from parents. Oh, semicolon. Okay, and so we have Hugh. So the point is I can go look in here. Okay, so that means I'm going to assume that it's going to be select all from child's semicolon. Postage table. Let's see, is select all from children. Doesn't really know what the plural of children is. It does. It knows what the plural of children is. I always find it impressive when it has like weird plural words and it just knows what the plural is. Okay, so there's Stewie. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's just so you can see that's what the Rails DB console does. And what do I do here? Quit. Let's do help again. Let's see how we quit SQLite. Quit. Dot quit. Dot quit. Okay. So let's clear this. Let's go back into the other console, Rails console. Okay, we're gonna make a kid with no parents. So K equals, oh no, it's a teenager. So let's make it T. Doesn't really matter what the letter is. T equals teenager. Teenager dot new, who has a name of Keith and an age of 17 and no parents. Okay, now let's try to save that teenager. So t.save. That still doesn't let me save it, so it looks like I have to have a parent there. It might be because of this. Maybe it's this foreign key field. Or I wonder if I just took this whole thing off altogether. Oh, whatever. I'm going to exit this. Let's create one more. Okay. Model. Grandchild. Oh, I mean Rails generate model grandchild. Rails generate model grandchild. Name string age integer name integer, oh yeah, and then parent references. Okay, so let's go with that new migration file if we kind of get the point. I'm going to change this to belongs to. I'm going to get rid of these and see how that goes. Okay. Rails db underscore migrate. See if that successfully migrates. That successfully migrates. So let's go back to the Rails console and try to make a grandchild without and I'm assuming grandchild is going to have a uppercase G. Yep, grandchild. So let's say G equals grandchild dot new name Zork, children of the future, age 8, no parents, and that should be an equal sign over here. There we go. And let's see here if it lets me save that. G dot save. Still doesn't let me save it, so still wants me to fill in all the fields. So let's see here. Grandchild dot parent, say equals nil. Let's see if it does if I do that. if I did this. Let's make another one. So G equals grandchild dot parent name equals Zod age equals 5 parent equals find or parent dot find 1 wrong number of arguments given 1 rescue and oh, I see. I didn't do. Yep. This should have been. Parent. It should be new. There we go. Okay, now let's try to save that child. G.save. And see, then it tries to save. So if I enter all the fields, it does save just fine. Even though I got rid of the foreign key thing. Interesting. Okay. Well, right now, basically, it makes me where I have to put in that extra field regardless. Or it gets angry with me. I mean, I could go to SQL and do it. But you guys get the idea. So hopefully this gave you an idea of how the basics of setting up these models and creating relationships and testing them out and entering in the database. It is interesting when you're trying to create sort of null possibilities and why it will not let you. Something to look into and talk about in another video. But you guys have a great day and enjoy.